It's a Christmas tradition. Every year my family gathers together and reads aloud the world's most depressing Christmas story. The story is called The Fir Tree by the famous Danish fairy tale writer Hans Christian Andersen. The protagonist is an unnamed fir tree growing up in an unspecified forest. In the beginning of the story, a pair of birds tells the tree about the Christmas preparations they've seen in the city, and from that moment forward, the little tree can do nothing but dream of becoming a Christmas tree. It spends its youth impatiently awaiting the loggers who will one day cut it down. As in the tragedies of Shakespeare, the tragedy of the fir tree lies in what we know and the fir tree does not. That Christmas only lasts for a day, that the tree will be stripped of its decorations and abandoned and forgotten, that it will die. In the story's final scene, Andersen lingers on the image of the tree burning in the family's rubbish heap. The story has nothing to do with any of the normal Christmas story themes, like how it's better to give than receive. It's a story of alienation and disillusionment and regret. In case you didn't realize that Andersen wrote this while staring into a bleak midwinter abyss of his own, he ends with the uplifting line, "It was past and gone now. The tree was past and gone, and the story too. Past and gone, past and gone. It's the same with all stories." My family reads this story in front of our own fir tree, which we cut every year from the Nicolet National Forest in northern Wisconsin. We owe the tradition of the tree cutting and the tradition of the story to my grandfather, a forest researcher for the U.S. Forest Service who spent most of his life working in this same vast stretch of woods. Like Hans Christian Andersen, my grandfather was also named Hans, also born in Denmark. As a child, it was easy for me to conflate the two of them. But there's a second parallel between our tradition and the narrative, a story within the story. On Christmas Eve, the most wonderful night of the fir tree's life, the family lights the candles that balance on the tree's branches and gathers around to listen to an old man tell a story. The man gives the children a choice between a tale called Clumpy Dumpy and another called Ivedy Avedy. The children choose Clumpy Dumpy, a folk tale of a bumbling hero who falls down a flight of stairs but marries the princess in the end. But despite the children's pleas, the man refuses to tell the other story. As a child, I thought the saddest part of the fir tree was the end, when a servant drags the tree out into the sunlight, where it realizes it's become dry and brittle, and then the servant throws it unceremoniously on a fire. Then, for a number of years, the tree's fleeting, discontented youth struck me as particularly sad. Even the tree feels a pang when the loggers haul it away from the forest. Now I find myself dwelling on the story's strange second act. Instead of the immediate catharsis of death, Andersen puts the fir tree into an attic where it continues to live, a melancholic fire hazard. Time passes. The tree meets a group of mice and entertains them by telling the only story it knows, Clumpy Dumpy, again and again, night after night, until the mice become bored and stop coming. Occasionally, the fir tree wonders about Ivedy Avedy, the other story. It isn't a real story, of course, just a pair of nonsense words invented by Andersen. We feel the gradual realization that nothing really happens twice. We expect to hear both stories, but in the end, we get only one. Past and gone. Past and gone.